Hello, students. Welcome to Super Grads, and I am your English mentor, Sana Jaffrey. And today I'm here with a very important video on verbal ability in different examinations that you're going to write. Okay, so I have taken up detail exam-wise, myriad of things, a wide array of things like what are going to be the topics, what is the paper pattern in your favorite and most sought after exams, IPMAT Indore, IPMAT Rohtak, and JIPMAT. Okay, so the verbal ability section in all these exams, किस एग्जाम में एग्जैक्टली क्या आता है और हर एग्जाम की क्या हाईलाइट है और हमें फोकस किन चीजों पे करना होगा. If you think that a generic preparation is going to take you through, that's not so right. Okay, we need to understand a nuanced understanding of what the paper pattern is like, and it is significantly different. That is what I want to break it to you today. Most of the people, most of the BBA aspirants are actually blindly preparing themselves merely on the lines of IPMAT Indore, or maybe they're going for a very generic preparation कि ठीक है grammar पढ़ना है, vocab पढ़ना है, passage पढ़ना है, but then they don't understand the subtleties. They don't know which paper is asking what. They don't know the weightage of topics. And it is imperative that we understand this really well so that you can have a perfectly tailored preparation as per the need of the examination. And I must say, the pattern has significantly changed last year. Year after year, we've been seeing some changes. Okay, so I would say the minimum change was in IPMAT Indore paper. It has been very consistent, I must say. But then there are some subtle changes. I would like to apprise you of that. I will tell you, of course, about what are the things that you have to focus on if you want to crack that. But apart from that, it will be very, very interesting for you to know about JIPMAT and IPMAT Rohtak in detail. ठीक है? तो क्या करने वाले हैं? As I've already told you, कि पूरा पैटर्न पेपर का समझेंगे और आपके लिए टेक अवेज होंगे, कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग हाइलाइट्स होंगे और आपको एक बहुत क्लियर रोड मैप मिलेगा कि आपको प्रेपरेशन कैसे करनी है, किन टॉपिक्स पे फोकस करना है. तो चलो लेट्स बिगिन. ओके, सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, pattern of IPMAT Indore 2024. I think this is something that many of you already know, so I would just be breezing through the slide. Well, it is very much accepted, I think unanimously accepted, that this paper is the most difficult in totality. But coming to VA section, honestly speaking, I don't think it is very difficult. But you just have to understand that this paper is not overemphasizing on vocabulary. If I compare it with other examinations, Rohtak and JIPMAT are quite vocab-driven exams. So you have to be very good with vocabulary. But in this examination, no, actually, you don't get direct questions or like synonyms and antonyms and one-word substitutions and spellings. So they do test your vocabulary, but that's indirect. They test it through fill in the blanks. They test it through word usage questions, which are based on confusables. So I'll tell you about some insights and the focus areas for this particular examination, but let's understand the pattern precisely. We all know that we will have 45 questions, right? अभी 45 questions आपके सामने, इसमें आप देखिएगा consistently year after year they've been giving you two passages of moderate length. Okay, 6 questions each, so we have 12 questions. Idioms and phrasal verbs. This year we saw a jump in phrasal verb questions. Unlike previous years where the thrust used to be only on idioms, this time there were so many questions based on phrasal verbs. So shift थोड़ा सा phrasal verb की तरफ जा रहा है, like come along, come about, right? इस type के जो phrasal verbs, I hope you are already familiar with them. तो ये बहुत दुखती रग है. This is tricky. This is very, very difficult. And so please start working on phrasal verbs, a piece of advice. Okay, 7 questions straight we had from this, so you understand the importance. Okay, grammar we had 5 questions, not very difficult, but yeah, all of them were in the more or less sentence improvement kind of a category. Okay, where a sentence is given, a part is highlighted, and you have to choose the correct replacement of that, right? So if your grammar is good, decent, you can crack it. Para completion, we had 4 questions. I hope you know what are para completion questions. Fillers, 6 questions. And we always have multiple blanks here, right? So filler-based questions with multiple blanks, 3 to 4 blanks, okay? And yes, the options are very close. So you have to be good with words and you have to have a nice sense of solving fillers. Word usage-based questions, फोकसिंग ऑन कंफ्यूजेबल्स, कंफ्यूजिंग वर्ड्स पे बेस्ड होता है ये बहुत ज्यादा, ओके? सो कंटेजियस, कंटिगुअस, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ओके फाइन कहाँ पे क्या आना चाहिए. So 4 sentences being given to you, you have to identify the one, and this was 6 questions. Wow. And this is where I would like to tell you this happens to be one of the focus areas. Imagine we will get a lead of 24 marks if we get these right, and they're very easy. All you need to do is just go through some confusables, and we have already given you a nice compendium in your RSMs in your modules, and this is anyway readily available in multiple books. Okay, para jumbles, 5 questions. So class, para jumbles is one such area which is very tricky because this is theta. So I would suggest do it at the end. Once you've exhausted all the questions, then you do it because it does attract negative marking. तो थोड़ा सा ये डाइसी है, स्टूडेंट्स इसमें टाइम भी इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और नेगेटिव मार्किंग लेके बैठ जाते हैं. सो ये लास्ट में करेंगे जब हमने सारी वो चीजें कर ली हैं जो हमसे बन रही होती है. सो आई होप दिस मच इज क्लियर. नाउ द फोकस एरियाज. I want you to focus on comprehension. See, if your comprehension skills are very good, it's going to help you in all the other examinations because all the exams have a high weightage of passages. Okay, here too we have 12 questions, and trust me, year after year what I've noticed is that the passages are very much doable here, right? So 100% accuracy आप ला सकते हो. कोशिश करो कि इसको कम टाइम में करो. बाकी बच्चा अगर एक पैसेज को कर रहा है 7 मिनट में, 8 मिनट में, आप कोशिश करो कि आप 5 से 6 मिनट में कर लो. That's how you will take a lead over others, right? You will have an edge over them. And when your comprehension skills are good, एक और फायदा आपको होगा, पैरा कंप्लीशन ऑटोमेटिकली आने लग जाएगा because you'll understand the idea of flow, and you can be like, of course, even to crack passages you need to be very logical. So obviously आप क्या कर पाओगे, आप बहुत easily para completion कर पाओगे. In fact, this is going to help you in para jumbles and fillers as well. Okay, so please work on your comprehension skills, practice passages almost on a daily basis or as much as possible, and read a lot. Second is idioms and phrases. Precisely, I would say phrasal verbs, please. Phrases, idioms, phrases तो ठीक है, but phrasal verbs पे इसके लिए आपको काम करना पड़ेगा. बहुत सारे ऐसे phrasal verbs पे questions आ गए हैं. Fillers, yes, fill in the blanks, multiple blanks वाले, this is very important. Confusables. अब आप सोचोगे कि मैम आप तो मतलब सारे टॉपिक लिख लिए आपने. सारे नहीं लिखे, मैंने इसमें पैराजम्बल नहीं लिखा है. ओके, प्रिसाइसली फॉर द रीजन दैट ये एक ऐसा एरिया है जिसपे आप काम करेंगे भी तो भी मतलब दिस मे नॉट यील्ड यू 100% पे ऑफ. इट विल नॉट गिव यू अ वेरी गुड पे ऑफ. You have to be very good, exceptionally good with it, only then can you score it. So अगर आप बाकी क्वेश्चन टाइप्स पे वर्क कर लेते हो तो काफी कुछ आप उसको क्रैक कर लेते हो. एंड माइंड यू, फिलर्स एक ऐसी चीज है जो आपको ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको उसको रोजाना प्रैक्टिस करना है. If you're good with words and if you know the strategy, you can with minimum practice you can make through it. Okay, ग्रामर कर लो तो ये बाकी एग्जाम्स में बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. बहुत वेटेज है ग्रामर का इन अदर एग्जाम्स, as you'll see very soon. Okay, confusables पे बहुत काम कर लो. You will not regret. Trust me, बहुत फायदा होगा because there are limited confusables. There are very limited confusables. So I think somewhere or the other वो आप अगर थोड़ा काम कर लोगे तो you will be able to score really well in these questions. Fine, let's now proceed. Yeah, as far as the difficulty level अच्छी होती है. It's never too easy. The paper is not too easy. I've just seen that the passages are quite easy, I believe. Para completion, para jumbles para jumbles will scare you a lot. Confusables are manageable. Fillers are tricky. Grammar is moderate, right? Now we come to JIPMAT. Now JIPMAT is a very different paper, I'll tell you. And this time we saw some changes. in the exam, in the paper pattern, and all that, right? So this is a breakup. Grammar. Now look at this. It's so interesting to see. Do you see like JIPMAT out of like we all know that there are 34 questions in the VA section. Out of 34, you have 14 questions based on grammar. Can you imagine? The weightage that they give to ग्रामर सो अगर आप जिपमैट क्रैक करना सोच रहे हो तो आपको ग्रामर पे बहुत काम करना पड़ेगा. You'll have to be very meticulous and very sedulous with your grammar preparation. And vocabulary too has a very decent weightage, 7 questions. And if I tug along or if I include idioms and vocabulary, which ultimately falls in the ambit of vocabulary, so it boils down to 10 questions. Significant. Now it will be interesting to note that vocabulary, when I say 7 questions, what I actually mean that you will find a wide palette of different, topics, subtopics coming here in the ambit of vocabulary. Like for example, you have spelling based questions. I think that's been kind of detailed. Yeah. So I've detailed the subtopics also. Anyway, no worries. I will come to it and I will tell you what are the interesting things and takeaways from this. So, reading comprehension, you have 8 questions. Passages, एक थोड़ा tricky था. Students found it like difficult. The other one was doable. I think there were 2 passages and they were not very lengthy and they were doable, but then slightly tricky. One was slightly philosophical and that was something that students were not very comfortable with. So you have to be prepared. You have to do diverse reading, and 8 questions also significant chunk. Para jumbles, there were two questions only. All right, and these were doable questions. So you should know para jumbles because para jumbles with options is pretty much manageable, and the kind of question that came, the difficulty level was not too high. Now, these were some very interesting things that we saw. For example, there was a cloze test. In this cloze test, half of the questions were grammar based. Either they were checking your preposition or they were, checking your conjunctions. And the remaining half were vocabulary based. Match the column was interesting because this was idioms. There was a match the column based on idioms. The other one was based on grammar. I think around 2 based on grammar. Sentence improvement was there, either in the fill in the blanks format or sentence improvement. Grammar was there in multiple ways. Synonyms, antonyms. You get direct questions on synonyms and antonyms. Please understand. So there is like no scope. If it is sentence based, you can guess the meaning. But here you often get direct questions. And there was a sentence based also, that a word has been used and you have to guess the meaning. You get direct questions on narration and voice. Of course, this will be in grammar. Passage mein we saw assertion reason type of a question. So in the passage, there was a question, assertion reason based, which you of course will prepare in critical reasoning, right? For Rohtak. One word, substitution, spelling. So you see the variety of questions. So here, the range of questions, the different ways in which they ask you, the different myriad ways in which they check your understanding of the language is very impressive. I like the paper pattern that way. And it will test you on your vocabulary. But if you want to prepare for JIPMAT very seriously, which you should, the focus area should be grammar, as very much evident in the weightage of questions. Next comes vocabulary, followed by comprehension. Right? So I think it is doable, but you'll have to be very, very good with grammar and vocabulary. The top 2 picks. Next, pattern of IPMAT Rohtak. Now this seems very problematic because you don't get to see the paper. They don't release the official paper. So there's a lot of speculation around IPMAT Rohtak always. So we were in touch with our students and that's how we got to know about the paper pattern. So this is a loose paper pattern. This is memory based, fine, but then corroborated by many of our students. So let's just understand grammar again. 10 questions. RC we had 4 passages, 10 questions. So there were normally 2 were short, the other 2 were slightly lengthy. And very interestingly, there was a one poem-based RC. So a poem was given, and you had to interpret it and mark the answers right. So this was certainly problematic for students. They were shocked, they were shell shocked, I must say. But then, if your comprehension is good, it's a prose or it's a dialogue or it's a piece of fiction or it's anything you can actually read and understand. Okay, vocabulary 8 to 10 questions, and here was a feedback from even the best of the questions that there were very tricky words which were asked, unexpected words. Many students had to say that, those words were nowhere from word power made easy, or they were not high frequency words, they were actually low frequency words. So you have to prepare for advanced vocabulary here. आपको थोड़ा सा advanced level पे जाना पड़ेगा. Okay, when it comes to vocabulary. इवन पैसेजेस में एक से दो पैसेजेस थोड़े ऑब्सक्योर टाइप के थे, सो वन हैज टू प्रिपेयर फॉर पैसेजेस वेल. फिलर्स 2, अब ये कुछ थोड़ा सा डिटेल का ब्रेकअप है. Odd word out 2 questions, odd word out. So you must know the entire variety. Someday they can give you analogy, someday they can give you odd word out, right? Idioms 2 questions, parajumbles 2 questions. Odd sentence is something which is very unique to this examination. No other exam is asking this. 4 to 5 sentences will be given to you. The remaining sentences belong to a paragraph, but those sentences, all of them, like 4 sentences belong to the paragraph, 5th one is an odd one out. But they're all jumbled, they are in no order. So you will have to identify which one is odd. And for doing that, you'll have to arrange the sequence. आप समझ रहे हो? Spellings समझते हैं. Spellings based questions, synonyms, antonyms based questions. Spellings में सिर्फ ये मैं आपसे कहना चाहती हूँ that you have to be good with your vocabulary, and whenever you learn a word, try to write it down 2 to 3 times at least. You will be able to remember it. Fine, and तुक्के मत लगाओ, please. Many students did that and landed in heavy negative marking. Okay, focus areas again, इसमें high level vocabulary की आपको जरूरत पड़ेगी, good comprehension skills, and of course grammar, because here also we had direct questions on voice and narration, right? And miscellaneous error, something on prepositions, subject verb agreement, and all that, right? So I'm not getting into grammar topics because they remain the same for all the exams, because we had 4 passages. So this was here, your reading speed also matters. To process 4 passages, to read that much, so some students found this lengthy also. So your time management, your knowledge of the subject, language पे command होना, verbal ability को prepare करो, अच्छे से prepare करो. काफी चीजें overlapping हैं. डरो मत, don't get daunted. Take baby steps but be consistent, right? And start करो अपनी preparation finally. कब तक सोचोगे बैठ के? It's high time that we started our preparation class, and that's all for today. I hope with these vital insights you now have a crystal clear picture of what comes in your examination, and please make sure that you prepare well, and whenever you have any concerns, any queries, write to us in the comment section. We'll be more than happy to receive your queries. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Catch you soon.